everyone, welcome to my third video on this channel. This time I'm gonna show you how to make your own cute summer set. I want to make this two-piece set, so it's a nice little top with a flowy skirt. I'll guide you through the steps because it's a tutorial. I'm gonna show you how to make this exact two-piece set for your summer vacay. So yeah, let's go and start creating our own unique pattern pieces. So for this two-piece set, we're going to start making the top. First, we need our basic bodice block. These are my basic bodice blocks, so the front and the back. But for this top, however, we don't want this dart. So we're going to pivot the dart out of this bodice block so that we end up with a dartless bodice block. So you have two options. You either use your already existing bodice block and remove the dart. I linked a video in the description below on how to remove the dart from your basic bodice block. Or option 2 is making your own bodice block that involves not any type of dart, so a dartless bodice block. I also linked the video in the description below. What I did is I already had a basic bodice block, so I just used the video in the description to remove this dart. From that bodice block, we're going to create our own pattern pieces for this top. So now we're going to draft the pattern pieces from our dartless bodice block. We're going to start with the front pattern pieces. First off, we're going to create F2. In order to create F2, you have to draw a line 2 centimeters above the armhole line, parallel to the armhole line. Then, after you've done that, you have to draw another line 6 centimeters above that line. When you've done that, you have created pattern piece F2. To create F1, we are going to measure 4 centimeters from the armhole edge. And then from that point, we're going to measure another point that is 5 centimeters away from that point. And then we draw 2 perpendicular lines from those 2 points, right down to the upper line of the F2 piece. When you've done that, you've created F1. After that, we're going to cut out all the pieces just like this. You have to add 1 centimeter seam allowance on the sides where there are X's marked. On the sides where there are no X's, you don't have to add any seam allowance. For F3, however, we still need to do some small adjustments because we have to add extra space for the ruffle part. We just have to extend the F3 piece. We will take 1/4 of our bust width and we will multiply it by 1.6. When you have that number, you just add it to the F3 piece by extending side line. To create our back pattern pieces, it's basically the exact same process. You start by creating B2 by drawing a line 2 centimeters above the armhole line, and then after that you draw another line 6 centimeters above the armhole line. Then we've created B2. To create B1, we do the exact same as before. We measure 4 centimeters from the armhole edge, and then from that point another 5 centimeters. We draw 2 perpendicular lines from those points down to the upper line of B2. Then we cut out all the pattern pieces just like this. Add some 1 centimeter seam allowance where all the X's are. Where there are none, you don't have to add seam allowance. And then for B3, we also need to add extra space for the ruffles. So just as before, we take 1/4 of our bust width and we multiply it by 1.6. We just add that number to our pattern piece, B3. Then we have actually 2 other pattern pieces, which is the button placket and the bias tape. The button placket is created by measuring the length of your front bodice and adding 2 centimeters of seam allowance. And then for the width, we just take 8 centimeters. And then for the bias tape, you just measure the armhole length and add 2 centimeters seam allowance. And then for the width, you decide on 3 centimeters. I have to cut out 4 pieces of F1, 4 pieces of F2, 2 pieces of F3, 4 pieces of B1, 2 pieces of B2 on fold. You have to cut this on fold. And also you have to cut B3 on fold. You only have to cut 1 piece on fold. And for the button plackets, you just cut out 2 pieces, and for the bias tape also 2. But you have to cut it on the bias, don't forget. This fabric, do you see? I bought it in a fabric store in Tokyo when I was there a few months ago, but I never got to do anything with it. So now I'm going to make this two-piece set out of this fabric. And I went to the local fabric store and I bought this beautiful lace trim. And I bought 5 meters of it. Let's say I have enough of this lace trim. I also bought this trim for the skirt. It's really cute. It looks cute on the fabric as well. You see? Little vintage farm vibes. I love it. Cottagecore. What do you think about my earrings? I just bought them on the same trip actually in Tokyo, and I never wear earrings, so I was like, nice change of scenery. Anyway, I like them. I think they suit me. So the first step that we're gonna do is we're going to attach the front and the back sides of the straps. So we're gonna do this 4 times, as you can see here. Sew down this side of the strap and do this 4 times. So next, iron down the seam allowance so that it's nice and flat, and then we'll go to the next step. So just like this, iron open the seam allowance. So the next step will be to put both sides of the strap, right sides together. Do it for both straps, just like this. Yes, so we have almost 2 straps, but we of course need to insert still the lace. So first measure off the length you need of the lace. You need lace for this side, this side, this side, this side. So cut 4 straps of lace, and then we will just sandwich in between the 2 fabric layers. So how we are going to sandwich it is just lay it on one part of the strap, and then place the other side of the strap on top of it. So you sandwich the lace in between, if that makes sense. So I just did it for this side, and I'm going to sew it down 1 centimeter seam allowance, and then let's see how it turns out. So this is kind of what it's supposed to look like. Then do the same thing for this side, and then do it all over again for the second strap. Maybe it's best to cut some of the seam allowance to make it easier to turn around and to make it less bulky around this shoulder strap seam. Make sure that you don't cut through the actual stitching. Yes, that will make it easier to turn around and make it less bulgy. So like, I don't know if you can see it, but like cut in the seam allowance a bit. So this is what the straps look like finished. Let's do a top stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4 top stitches. And then to finish this side, I will just use my overlocker. If you don't have an overlocker, just use a zigzag stitch. For your top stitch, make sure to iron everything nice and neatly down so that everything is nice and flat. So by top stitching, I mean stitching really closely to the edge, as I did here. I don't know if you can see right here, really close to this edge. And that is called top stitching. It has a fancy name, but it's just basically stitching really close to the edge so that the fabric stays in place when washing. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take fabric piece F2. Essentially, we're going to do the same thing as we did with the straps. So we're going to place the parts right sides together, and then we're going to measure off the correct length of lace. I already did it for this piece. So now we're going to do the same as with the straps. We're going to insert the lace in between the 2 pieces and sandwich it. And then we're going to sew it down. As you can see, I already did it for this piece. It should look something like this. And then the sides you can just leave raw, because we're going to finish that off later. As you can see, it's not very straight. My lace, it went a bit off on this side, but you know what? It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. And I think if I add like the button flap, you're not going to notice it that much. So I'm just going to leave it that way. And you know, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be cute and frilly, and that's what it's going to be. So no stress, just vibes. No stress, just vibes. I'm saying this while I'm stressing, but it's okay. So just sandwich the laces, then turn it inside out, then give it a good press with the iron, top stitch it down, and yeah, then these parts are also finished. Now I've finished both of the F2 pieces. We can put them to the side. Look at this turtle I got from my sister, and every time I sew, his head goes like this. Because this sewing machine moves, and then his head is like it's so cute. Move on to B2. Actually, upon further thought, while I was thinking about how to sew this, I realized that I shouldn't have cut this in the middle, and I just should have cut it on fold. So ignore this. Your piece should be attached, should be one whole piece, not two pieces. This is a mistake I made. We're gonna do the same thing as previously. Put the right sides together, sandwich the lace, then turn it inside out, give it a good press with the iron, and then top stitch again. Just the same as we did before. This is the finished B2 piece. Yours should look like this. Okay, next up, we're going to work with pattern piece F3. If you cut it correctly, then you have two pieces F3. We have to make some gathers. How we're gonna make gathers at the front is we're gonna sew two lines, 0.4 centimeters and 0.8 centimeters from the edge, and we're gonna use the widest stitch length. You're just gonna do the widest stitch length right here. You see, this is the length that we want to gather this piece onto. So we gather it as much as this length so that we get this length. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but I just sewed two lines right across the edge with the biggest stitch length. And to make gathers, we're gonna separate the two threads. And we're going to pull, I think it's the upper thread. Yeah, the upper thread. Just take the two upper threads and then we just gather. It's really simple and easy. So just gather. Don't gather too much. Take your F2 piece and place it right on the table so you can see how much you need to gather. So we need this length. So we're just going to gather some more. Just make sure the gathers are all evenly distributed so that we have nice, even ruffles. Okay, so now I've got the desired length, and we're going to make a knot on both sides of the thread so that the ruffles stay put. We're going to finish off this edge with a serger. If you don't have a serger, a zigzag stitch will do. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, just finish off the edge. And then we're going to attach it to the back of F2. Upon second thought, it would have been nice if we inserted it right inside this seam, so that we don't see like the finished edge on the inside, which makes the garment more beautiful. But right now I'm like too unbothered about it. It's a learning process, so eventually some error will come up, and this time this happened, and it's okay, you know. I could if I wanted to like unpick all these stitches and like put it in between and then stitch it back up again, but I don't think I want to do that just because I'm lazy. Yeah, so there's that. If you are not lazy like me, you can unpick this and insert it right behind the lace part and then just sew it back down so that everything is nicely captured inside. But for me, I'm just going to serge down this side and then just stitch it down right like this, and then stitch right over the same top stitching as I did before, so to secure it in place. Serged it down, but it turns out that I stretched it out while I was serging, so you can see it's not fitting. So I have to unpick all these stitches, and I think the serger also cut off my side strings that I used to make frills, so I think I'll have to restart again and sew back the whole two lines, but that's okay, you know, live and learn. So I think instead of doing this, I will first, after making the frills, I will stitch a straight stitch on the 1 centimeter line, so to secure all the frills in place, and then after that I will
serging everything down.
So I just overlocked it. So now we're going to attach the F3 to F2. So right like this. This is the back side of both pieces. You just pin it down 1 centimeter from the edge. We're going to sew F3 to F2 by sewing again over the top stitch line that we previously sewn, so that it's not really a visible stitching line. That would be the best, I think. So this is the finished result. As you can see, it looks really cute and frilly, not too frilly, so it resembles the picture that I wanted to recreate. And on the back, it looks like this. It's it's decent, I think. I mean, it could have been tucked in inside this panel, but you know, it's fine like this. Like, it's the inside, and nobody's gonna tell anyway. So, it's fine, and it's nicely finished. It's good. Let's do it again for the other panel of the front. Then do the exact same thing for the back as well, and then the front and back panels will be finished. Attach the front and the back pieces together at the side seams. So just sew a straight stitch 1 centimeter from the edge, finish it off with a zigzag stitch, or you can use your serger like me. So as you can see, I just finished sewing the side seams and finishing them off. As you can see, we have this tiny armhole situation going on both sides. I was thinking maybe we should first finish this off using some bias tape. I'm going to make some bias tape out of this fabric that I have here. So I will show you how to do that. You basically just cut a strip of your desired width on the bias, that is. And the bias is the most stretched part of the fabric. Let me show you. Yeah, so this is the bias. So just cut out a strip of fabric on the bias of 3 centimeters wide, then iron in each side 1 centimeter, and then you end up with 1 centimeter bias tape. And now we're going to attach it to the armhole. So I don't know if you can see this well, but I tried with my tripod. So if you can see this, yay. If not, I'm sorry. You can look up how to attach bias tape on another YouTube tutorial. Open the flaps that we just ironed down, and we place it just like this to the edge of the armhole, like all the way around. And then we're gonna sew it right in this ditch. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but right here, we're gonna sew it down. And then in the next step, I will show you how to finish the armhole. Make sure to leave a centimeter or two for finishing touches. Okay, so when you're finished with that, please double check that all the lace is tucked in nice and neatly underneath the bias tape. If you did so, then the next step would be to fold everything inwards. So if you can see, this is the bias, and inside it looks like this, a whole mess. But if you just fold this whole tape under, look at the inside becomes so pretty, and we don't see anything, and it's a nice little finish for the armhole. So let's just fold in the bias tape and then stitch down 1 centimeter from the side. And don't forget to tuck in this flappy that we left earlier before you turn it over. So everything is nice and covered. And yeah, a nice little finish to the armhole. Oh, and if it is too bulky, you can just cut off some of the lining to make the bias more flat. Like this part right here with the lace is a bit bulky for me, so I'm going to cut it off like this. Let me show you. Just make sure you don't cut into any other like this, any other seams, but you should be fine. And then it's less bulky and easier to flip through and sew down. Okay, so right now I finished my bias tape and it's looking really good. Look, the inside is looking like this. Yes, so if yours looks like this, you've done a great job. One armhole, so let's do the other one, and then we can go on to the next step. I was busy doing the second armhole, and look the atrocity that I discovered. I have been bleeding on my top. Like, I must have pinched my finger with some nail, and now there's blood on my top. Oh, the horror. Oh no, I hope this goes out in the wash. If not, well, it's handmade. Yikes. Next thing we're going to do is we're gonna attach the placket to the bodice. So with the placket, I mean the button placket. What I basically did is I cut out a rectangle of 62 centimeters by 8. For your piece, you just keep the 8 centimeters width. That's what we will need. But the length of this piece would be from the top of the front piece all the way down here. So like just the length of the front piece where we're going to attach the placket. Just measure that and add 1 centimeter on both sides for seam allowance. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold the piece right sides together in half, and we're going to sew 1 centimeter down one end of the placket piece, only one end. So once you've done that, just turn it inside out, maybe cut off some of the excess fabric near the here, so it's less bulky, and then turn it inside out. Yeah, so you have a nice clean corner like this, and then iron everything down in the middle. So before we attach the placket to the front, we are going to attach the lace, the last pieces of lace that we still need for the top, and we're going to attach it to the placket. So if you see, this is the corner that we just made, this is the folded edge, and these are the raw edges. So you place the lace on top of the raw edge and just sew it down on the one side, not both sides, just one side. Do you see? So just sew it right here. It's just to secure it in place so it doesn't move when I attach this placket to the front. So now I just attached the lace on only one side, you see? We are going to attach this placket to the front piece by just attaching it right sides together, as you can see, like this. As for the top, I think I'm going to just align this side with the top part of the lace, because otherwise it won't be like finished nicely. And if I look at the picture of the reference picture, it also is like this. So I will just copy it and hope for the best. Yes. Yes, so just sew it down one layer at a time. Only one layer, you see? Just sew down one layer of the placket all the way down, because we're going to use it to flip it backwards. So just only one layer. When you're finished, it should look like something like this. Yes. Okay, first off, we're going to iron down this part so that everything is nice and flat. Then iron in 1 centimeter, just like I'm doing right here, and then flip it over so everything's nice and flat. Yes, so I pinned everything down. So now we're going to sew right near the edge of the placket, right here. So sew it down all the way down, and then the placket is basically attached. So now I just sewed it down, as you can see. Everything is sewed down. This is what the inside should look like. Nice and neat. We finished our first part of the placket. Now we have to do the same thing on the other side. And then after that, we will attach the buttons and make the buttonholes. Before attaching the buttons and making the buttonholes, let's finish off the hem first. What you basically do is just fold in 1 centimeter and then fold in another 1 centimeter, and then just sew down right near this edge to finish off the hem. Before attaching the buttons and the buttonholes, we're also going to attach the shoulder straps. So just attach them like I did, 1 centimeter from the edge, just in line with the edge of the armhole. Do it like this, just attach it. I just attached it like this, you see. I attached it 1 centimeter by sewing again over this top stitch line, and then I attached it like this. Yeah, there is probably a better way and a cleaner way to do this, but you know, it works. It's finished off with zigzag stitch, so it won't fray. So just do this for both straps 2 times. Yep, like this. So attach the straps, and then after that we're going to do the buttons. So now we're at the final step, which is creating the buttonholes. So for my top, I chose to attach 5 buttons. I found these really cute buttons. Look, they're like little flowers. They're so cute, look at it. So I will be attaching 5 buttons. The first one I will be attaching 2 centimeters down from the top. And then after that, I will be attaching each button with 7 centimeters space in between. I've attached the buttons and made all the buttonholes. So this top is finished, so let's see what it looks like on. If you do decide to make your own set, let me know in the comments or tag me on Instagram. I would love to see it. And if you have any questions, if something was unclear, also let me know in the comments and I will try to answer as quickly as possible. I've been brewing up some ideas for my next video, so the goal is to post a video every 2 weeks and sew something new every 2 weeks, which is kind of challenging, but it's a good challenge, because otherwise I don't sew and I don't do anything creative. So having this deadline for myself and like this goal helps me to be creative more regularly and to actually challenge myself outside of work. Please like this video, drop a little comment in the section below, and maybe a little follow from you. That would be nice. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.